Opening day is just 9 days away. The lineup is starting to take form, so I want to kind of talk about who I think is going to be the best offensive player on our team. No, I'm not talking about Cody. Nope, not Christopher Morel. I'm talking Seiya Suzuki. Let's talk about it. Welcome again to another episode of the Cubs Rundown. This is going to be episode number 2. Thank you so much for those of you who've already liked and who've already subscribed to this show. This is just a little side venture I'm doing. Obviously, some of you are following me over from the Illini cast or Big Ten show here right on YouTube. Cubs have always been a passion of mine, and so I decided trying to talk about them on a daily basis was going to be something I wanted to make more of an effort for this summer. As I was talking about in the intro, today I kind of wanted to talk about Seiya Suzuki. Seiya is a guy who's entering his third season now in the major leagues, and he's a guy who has never really been able to figure it out in a full season. Last year, obviously, he started off struggling a little bit, and so he had to take some time off. The Cubs, in the meantime, replaced him essentially with Candelaria for a week or so. But Seiya came back, and he ended up being one of the best players in baseball. And that's not just me saying it, that's evidenced by new Cubs manager Craig Counsell, all but suggesting that Seiya Suzuki is going to be the number 2 hitter in the lineup this year. I mean, he's mashing the ball in spring training this year, too. Asked about it, Counsell talking about the number 2 hole. It's the most dangerous hitter because there's hits in there and there's damage. That always means what do we do? It leaves less options for the pitcher. The damage scares pitchers when you're game planning. When you're starting to say about a hitter, well, there's where he can't hurt you, but you know you're going to give up hits. That's a good hitter. That's where Seiya got to at the end of last year. Now, again, Counsell saw Seiya up close on the other side, on the other dugout, managing the Milwaukee Brewers. And he saw what the rest of us saw. Obviously, Cody was he kicked off summer. June, July, he was Mr. Cub, just mashing the ball and hitting home runs and essentially carrying our offense. But the last 2 months of the season, it was actually Seiya Suzuki who was pretty clearly our best offensive player. Let me run through his stats real quick. Over the last 2 months of 2023, the right fielder slashed 349, 406, 667 with 12 home runs, 39 RBIs, and a 183 weighted runs created plus number. That was third in all of major leagues. And no, I'm not saying he's Shohei Ohtani. Just for reference, Ohtani's weighted run created plus was 180. But I also don't think he was that player that he was in the first couple months of the season either. Seiya, in my opinion, has the best overall batting philosophy of all our batters. Me personally, put a gun to my head, Cubs down by 1 late in the game. Who do I want batting? It's Seiya Suzuki. I think, if nothing else, we know we'll get a good at bat out of it. And again, it's all proven in the last 2 months of the season when his strikeout rate or swing through rate, I forget which number it was, fell to 17%. And that's down from the 25% it was earlier in the year. There were some adjustments that he made, which obviously worked out for him. And with Seiya, the issue has always kind of been, is he hurt or not? Obviously he's in his third year now. I really feel like he looks a lot more comfortable out in field. He's our everyday right fielder. I know he's played a little bit of left field in spring training, but Craig Counsell has been pretty clear on the reason being that just in case in a must-needed situation, he wants to know that he can put Seiya out and left, but it's not something that's going to happen routinely or at all. It's just kind of a emergency break glass in case of emergency type of moment. But with Seiya Suzuki batting at the number 2 spot, obviously you'll have Cody right around there. I'm assuming number 3. We're counting on the bat that Michael Busch and Christopher Morel are going to give you, which we're hoping are going to be upgrades from the lineup of the previous year at first base and third base, particularly Michael Busch. I mean, our first basemen had one of the worst slash lines of any team in baseball last year. But we scored about 819 runs last year, which again is not bad. Six most in the majors. But the way this team is built, I believe it's built towards a higher ceiling with the 2 young guys I mentioned before. But most importantly, again, I believe Seiya Suzuki is a guy that's going to be able to kind of continue where he left off last year. And he's mashing the ball in spring training, as I said. As of a day or two ago, he was batting .440 in spring training. Now, I don't put that much weight to .440, of course. It's spring training. Everyone's just kind of flexing their muscles and stretching out a little bit. But I just look at it a big picture. If you don't want him coming out struggling again, like he did last year in particular. Let me see if I can find his. Yeah, so the first 3.5 months of the season, again, this is when Cody thankfully was carrying us. Suzuki had a 249, 330, 383 slash line, 9 home runs, and a 95 runs created plus. Now, if you're not a stats nerd and you don't know what the WRC plus number means, just know that 100 is average. So he was at 95 with, again, the 25% strikeout rate. 95 so he was a below average hitter those first few months. And then again, I circle back. He ended up hitting 183 WRC the last 2 months, which is insane. You're talking about a hitter being 80% better than the average baseball batter. Again, is he going to be able to bat at those levels? Probably not. But he's quickly become, especially with the contracts that we've seen being dished out this year. Cubs, I believe, signed him for 5 years, $85 million. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I believe that. I'm kind of pulling that out of my butt. That's a complete bargain for a guy who's able to show glimpses of being the best hitter on the team. There's always we run the risk with Cody. There's a reason we didn't sign him to that 7-year, $200 million contract that he wanted originally. That's a lot of money for a guy who the previous 2 years from last year struggled at the plate. And there's a chance for a regression when Cody comes back this year. So how do we plan for that? One of the options that we can be hopeful for is that Seiya Suzuki can be the guy who kind of all of a sudden becomes the consistent good hitter. A guy who I think the key would be get to that 30 home run mark. I think he can absolutely do it. Have a 900 plus OPS. I think he's got the talent to do it. I think he's settled in enough. I genuinely think he can be our best offensive player this year. And it's someone who I'm looking forward to seeing whether he can just kind of develop the consistency that the Cubs are going to need from his spot. And again, it's not just me talking about it. With Craig Counsell essentially saying he's our number 2 hitter from here on out, that is almost as much of a compliment as a manager can give. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you don't mind, on your way out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm a long ways from 1,000 subscribers, but I'm going to be planning on doing these daily, at least when the season starts. And I'm going to be going live for post-game shows immediately afterwards. I just don't think anyone's going to be watching these live yet. Otherwise, I'd be incorporating your comments like I do for my other show. But if you're out there, let me know what you think, what you want the next topic of my video to be. Let me know if you want me to schedule live shows where we can interact back and forth. I'm absolutely open to doing that. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Go Cubs, go.